Hey there, crazy kids. I am the good old gamer, and welcome back to some more Bountiful Minecraft. In this episode, we're gonna get to making more of these funky looking pillars. Yay! So let's see what we need to do to get ready for that. We can get rid of that. Probably need to keep those. I don't need that right now. Probably gonna need these. We got a few stairs, but we're gonna need some more. Probably gonna need all these. There we go. That should be enough for now. So, let's go ahead and keep on building. Yay! Alright, so, let's see. Need that there. Okay. So put these four there, like so. Jack-o'-lantern. Whoops, no, I forgot. I want to face it the other way. Ladders all around. Cobblestone on top. And stairs all around. And then we want cobblestone there. Another cobblestone. Another jack-o'-lantern. More ladders. I know you guys don't need to hear the play-by-play commentary, but this is mostly for me, more than anything. Just to make sure I got everything straight. And then more lovely stairs. There we go. And I guess I want some dirt so we can nerd bowl. And then we want post there, post there, post there, and post there. Pretty easy. Get ourselves a bed. Because again, the days are so incredibly short in this game. Alright, so we just have to repeat the process over and over again on every one of these bases. So, yeah. Let's go ahead. Do another one. Do another one. So I guess now is as good a time as any for some random discussion. I was listening to a podcast last night, doing a bit of random exploring and stuff on the Goglog world, and just collecting random items, hunting down animals, that sort of thing. I was listening to a podcast, and it was talking about D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, the sort of tabletop role-playing game, pen and paper role-playing game, I guess. That's the better word for it. And well, it got me kind of nostalgic because I guess a couple years ago now, can't even believe it's been that long ago, but a few years ago I was part of a group that played Pathfinder, which consisted of an sort of version of D&D for Edition 3, I guess it was. I don't know. It was the first D&D pen and paper game that I've ever played, so anyways, it was a really fun game, and this podcast got me nostalgic for it because we used to use that as an excuse to hang out. And why can't I place that there? Oh, I was on the wrong layer, I think. What? Well, this is gonna get annoying. Whoops, didn't mean to do that, but whatever. So anyways, it got me nostalgic for that because, like I said, it's been a few years since I played that. I don't live in the same area. In fact, most of my friends that played that game with me, we don't live in the same area. In fact, that's why we don't play it anymore. It's because we moved on to various other things. And so it got me nostalgic for it, and I got to missing it. Pathfinder was a really fun game. I guess since it's D&D edition 3 or whatever, D&D is a pretty fun game in general. And I don't know. I miss that connection, that imagination, storytelling, all that fun stuff. I used to play that game as well, I had two characters because we ran two different campaigns during the time that I played it. And the first one I played a monk because um, well, I I didn't exactly know what I was doing for that game, but I had experience with games like with video games like Knights of the Old Republic, which uses a modified D&D kind of system, and I had a bit of experience in Neverwinter Nights, which uses a similar, different but similar system. And so I played a monk because I looked over the book of stats and abilities and stuff, and as I was making the character, and I noticed that monks in that game in Pathfinder don't wear armor. They don't need armor, and they also don't need to use weapons. They can use their hands. They're martial artists, um, and that's for me. That was the perfect class kind of character to start on because I didn't have to worry about buying different armors or finding armors or upgrading armors or worrying about weapons or anything like that. Finding new weapons or worrying about stats, my stats will pretty much stay the same. Um, and the best part about playing as that monk character is that I got to play as an observer character in the game. I didn't really have to do combat much because of the character itself. I had the excuse of being a non-violent, like a pacifist sort of monk, so I didn't really even have to get into the combat itself, which was pretty fun. Um, So I remember that character very fondly because it was my first experience playing the game, and because I got to have the excuse of playing a pacifist monk, I could kind of just watch as the other people in the game who were more experienced with it played it out, and I could just kind of, observe and gather information, get more accustomed to the game without actually having to worry about goofing anything up. And so I have fond memories of that character for that reason. That and there were moments where I had a lot of fun with that character, even though he wasn't much into the combat. Um, he could do he could run the fastest out of, I think, any creature in that entire campaign. I forget the exact speed amounts or whatever, but he could run like 4 or 5 times faster than any other thing in that campaign because monks have this speed deal. They're very, very speedy, and we were allowed to have one magic item for our characters, and so I got the boots of, I don't know, they were speed boots, and so I was already like three times faster, I think, than any other character. And the boots made me like 4 or 5 times faster. I forget. They like doubled my natural movement speed or something like that. So I got to don't worry, I'll get rid of these grass blocks eventually. I got to run like 4 or 5 times faster than anybody else, so my monk character was basically untouchable. If he was running around, nobody could catch up to him. He would outrun horses in that game. Um, so I remember one time in particular, we had this very important magical item or whatever, this like world destroying magical item. And we were in charge of moving it from wherever we recovered it from to wherever we were going to, I think, destroy it or whatever to get rid of it. And of course, enemies were after us and after it to get it back. And I remember my character, like I said, couldn't engage in combat, wouldn't engage in combat. Not that he couldn't, he just wouldn't because he was a pacifist. Um, but I remember this almost immediately after we got the world destroying item, enemies were coming after us, and originally somebody else in the group had the item, but then they were starting to get overrun by the enemies. So my observer monk decided, you know what? I'm taking it back. We're gonna take this. We're gonna take this. We're gonna take this magic item where it needs to go, and we're not messing around anymore. And so he just comes running by, and I had it planned out with the guy the other character who had the item to just let it go, to hand it over to me, I guess is how you would put it. So my monk comes flying in from out of nowhere because he was off over doing his own thing, like just kind of observing the group and stuff, kind of minding his own business. And so he comes running in like 4 or 5 times faster, max speed and everything, 4 or 5 times faster than anything else in the game, creatures included, just comes flying in, just like a blur almost, comes flying in max speed, grabs the item, and just takes off running. Just takes off running. And before the enemies even knew it, he had the item and was gone. Like he was just there, the item was there, and then the enemies blinked, and then the item was gone. And they were like, what? And so my monk took off with it, and he got to wherever we were going to take the item to be destroyed or whatever. He got to that place in a day, like max running. Of course, he was super tired out by the end of the day and everything, but he had 3 days to rest before the team could catch up to him. So he just when he got to the place, when he got to that place with that item, he just rested for 3 days. That's all the DM said. You know what? Your character's just going to rest here for 3 days while the team catches up. You'll be fine by the time they get there. And I remember my monk was so nonchalant about it, like, it's about time you guys showed up. I've been waiting here for like forever. And I remember that character so fondly. In fact, the DM had to we had to take a break off from that campaign after that gaming session because the DM had to create more of the campaign. Because originally the campaign was supposed to end there. Our team was supposed to have this big fight where my monk, at that event where my monk took the item and ran off, we were supposed to have this big fight, this big epic battle, and then over the course of the next whatever it was, 3 or 4 in-game days, travel across the land, have several more battles, and possibly not make it over to wherever we were going to destroy that item. And then when we got there, we would destroy the item. That would be the end of the campaign. But the DM for the game didn't account for my monk when he created that campaign. And my monk ran there in a day, skipped over everything, just sped right by everything. He's a pacifist monk, so he's not going to get in a battle. He's just going to run by it. So we had to take a week, I think it was a week or two off after that gaming session so the DM could come up with some more to do in that campaign once we got um, the world destroyer weapon thing taken care of. And of course, after that, well, what are you going to do after you taken care of the world destroying magic item? We basically just had to go from there back to the area that we started from, the little tavern that we started from, to get paid. And so that was another gaming session, I think, and then the campaign was done. It was still done a week or two earlier than the DM had planned for. I hope I've been putting these on the right side. I don't know. I guess it doesn't matter ultimately, but so that was my very first character in a D&D game, and that was Pathfinder. And I had one other character in the next campaign that I was in, and then in that one I played a cleric, and it was a very devout cleric. I forget the deity that the cleric was worshipping. It was I know it was a goddess. It was a female one, and I think it was around healing or something like that, or protection, something like that. Because it was a good guy cleric. I don't play bad guys. But I remember the cleric, and it was this cleric was focused on healing and protection and that sort of thing. That's why I know the goddess was about that, because that's what the cleric focus was. I need to go make more ladders. It was easier to do it this way, and then I'll do the other stairs and stuff after I get these on, I guess. Because see, now they're getting in the way. The cleric, I don't really have as many memorable moments with the cleric. That character was not nearly as pacifist. Oh, I don't know. I don't want to use these because these are going to go into the bridge. I guess I got some oak wood there. We'll use that. Yeah, the cleric wasn't nearly as pacifist. Not that the cleric went and looked for fights either, but he wasn't nearly as afraid. Well, the monk wasn't afraid of battle. The monk just didn't do battle. But the cleric helped out in battles, mostly with healing and stuff. I built it around kind of battling undead, because that's another thing that the clerics are good at. but we never really faced too many undead, so it was mostly a healing cleric more than anything. A healing cleric, and that guy provided the food because of whatever the first or not the zero level spells, whatever it is. I forget the name of it, but there's a spell that doesn't cost anything, and you can use it as many times in the day as you want, and it makes things taste better or whatever. So that's what the cleric did. And he had this other spell like a hero's feast or something that could feed way more than we needed for our little team. So at the end of the days, my cleric would do the hero's feast for everybody, so everybody could get some good food and rest and all that. So we never had to worry about rations or anything in that campaign. Nobody had to ever worry about running out of food as long as I was alive. And as you can imagine, with me being the healer, and I think in that campaign I was the only really support character. I was always buffing people and healing them and whatnot. Um, as you can imagine, I was pretty well protected. Everybody wanted to make sure I stayed alive, so anytime the baddies went after me, usually the big tank character would come help me out. And I'd be like, okay, dude, you take care of them and I'll take care of you. It's all good. But that one wasn't nearly as memorable, because that was more my second character, and by then I'd already gotten used to the game and stuff. And I was only playing that character because of the magic spells. I wanted to kind of play around with that because that was something I hadn't experienced with the monk. Oh, no, that's alright. We'll just do this. And I wanted to play as a cleric because, what was it, sorcerers or wizards or whatever, one of them, or maybe both of them, had oh, crap, I don't know why I did that. That was dumb. One or both of them had a more complicated way of doing spells with their spell book and stuff, and the cleric uses divinity spells, which I can just pick from a list every day that the specific deity that my cleric worships gives, and I could just refresh them by sleeping or whatever. I didn't have to learn them or bring ingredients or anything like that. I guess there was one other, now that I'm thinking about it, there was one other character I'd played, and that one was a rogue. And I played that one kind of like a Sam Fisher from Splinter Cell type, only in, medieval times. Maybe it'd be more like Assassin's Creed, but at the time I based it off of Sam Fisher and the Splinter Cell series. It was even named Sam. I forget his last name. It wasn't Fisher, but the character's name was even Sam. Um, and for that one, I was a sneaky rogue, so I wasn't really part of the team too much. Like, we'd come to a town and everybody would walk through the gates except me. I'd go off along the walls of the town to some corner wall of the town, climb over the wall, sneak into town, and look around. I never really stole anything because I was still a good guy, but I was pretty stealthy. Um, like, anytime we went to a town, the town guards and the town royalty and stuff never knew I was there. I was always off doing my own thing, and then I kept an eye on the team, and every time the team got done doing their business in town, getting orders or whatever, then I would find my way back and meet up with them outside of town, and we continue on our way. I generally was, with that character, in charge of getting information from the not so lovely people in the town, like more of the, I guess, ugly type of people in the town. The I wouldn't say trustworthy because obviously I was getting information from them, and I don't think I ever had any information that was bad, but I'd talk to like the poor people or the that sort of thing. The more unsavory folks in town that um, the more decent kind of characters in our team refused to talk to. That's what my character ended up doing. Um, I think one time my character ended up stealing an item, but it was a quest item from a bad guy, so it didn't count against my character in terms of the morality or whatever. But yeah, that's just something I've been thinking about lately ever since listening to that podcast about D&D and stuff. I was like, God, I missed that Pathfinder game. It was, like I said, those 2 or 3 campaigns that I was in were the only ones I ever played, and I miss it. I wish I had another group of people that played it, or I could go back to the original group and play some more, but almost everybody in that original group doesn't live together anymore in the same town. I mean, that's why we got together and played, is because we all hung out in the same town and stuff. But then the DM went off to some school, and then the other DM went off to half across the United States to go live somewhere else, and I moved, and so yeah. And there's nobody around here that I know that plays that game, so I'm kind of out of luck, I guess. Those of you watching this video, have you any of you played D&D or an offshoot of D&D or anything like that? Kind of curious to know about that. Like I said, I played Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, and that game has a D&D type system in it. It's just modified with Star Wars names, but it basically runs a D&D system. I forget which edition it is. So that's where I actually got most of my experience for the Pathfinder game, is from that video game. That's the only reason I understood really what was going on in the Pathfinder game originally. It's thanks to that game. I know there's D&D games you can play online or whatever, like through, I don't know if it's through Skype or something else. That could be fun, but I've never experienced any of that, and it's been so long now since I played that, several years. I don't know. I don't know if I could even. I don't know if I could even get into it again. Another thing that comes with D&D is kind of like with MMOs, in the whole social aspect of it, is that the game's fun, but it's fun when you're playing with friends and you can be goofy and all that stuff. So it's another thing. I don't know. It'd be nice to be able to play it again, but I don't know if I ever will or ever have the chance. That kind of sucks, but whatever. Um, I think I got everything I need to keep going and make the rest of the portions of the pillars. Why did I come back here? I don't know. Did I run out of something? I don't think I did. Huh. Well, that's weird. I got to talking and I apparently got distracted and didn't know what I was doing anymore. Weird. Anyways, I was going to finish the rest of these pillars, but I think we'll just keep going and do what we've been doing with the first part, the posts and the jack-o'-lanterns. Oh, I came back for dirt, didn't I? Oh, whatever. I'll just get dirt from here. Oh wait, I have some. Wow, I am off track today. This is what I get for talking about random stuff. If you guys played any kind of D&D, what kind of characters did you play? If you haven't played it, what kind of characters would you play? Um, from what I've understood, D&D, my experience was with Pathfinder, but I think D&D is basically the same. You get your usual fantasy type classes, knights and warriors and rogues and fighters and wizards and sorcerers and monks and all that stuff. I'm much more fond of playing the more non-traditional classes. Like I said, monk was my favorite, but mostly for reasons that didn't have much to do with the game itself. Um, I also, out of the three classes I played, the monk, the cleric, and the rogue. The monk was my favorite. Cleric was my second favorite, and the rogue was probably the most traditional of the classes. But it was pretty fun too. It was still a character that I could play without feeling like I was playing the most boring classes on earth. I guess that's from all my video game experiences and stuff. And if you haven't guessed, from the cleric and the monk, I like playing support characters more than the more combat oriented characters. I don't know why. I guess I feel that I'm not that great at all the combat, and I don't really trust the combat relying on dice rolls all the time, d20s or whatever, because I just assume my luck will be that I get a bunch of d1s or whatever and fail all the stuff. So I feel more comfortable playing a support class where I have things. Well, and then I just like things going on that goes beyond combat. You know, I like having other things to do in those games than just combat. And both the cleric and the monk, for various reasons, provided that. So those are the types of classes that I like. I don't know if I would ever play like a knight or a fighter or paladin or whatever in one of those games. Maybe a paladin, but not the straight up sword and board or whatever fighter. If I did play a fighter, it would be for the sake of comedy, and I'd play like a half orc or whatever, like one of the dumbest, like purposefully dumbest classes. Like I'd have a low intelligence, and I'd just be like, derpy derp, I want to hit things. Give me something to hit, and that would be my character. I would purposely be the dumbest of the team, just for the fun of it. If I played a sword and board character, that would be the kind of character that I would play. Just a straight up moron who only knows how to hit things. I guess kind of like a miniature Hulk. Hulk smash. Ah. That would be the character that I'd play. And since orcs or even half orcs, I guess, are green, I could even name it Hulk, probably. I don't know where I'm going with this, just something to talk about while I'm doing busy work. I'm kind of sad that the that Pathfinder group ended when it did because I was looking forward to trying out more classes, or more different characters at least. Oh, and I'm out of ladders again. Well, I'll finish up what I got here, and then I'll put the ladders on later if I remember. Whoops. I don't think I would have played Pathfinder or any D&D game if it wasn't for the fun, imaginative sort of and social aspect to it. Because fantasy is not my favorite genre. The whole knights and wizards and stuff. It's not. Um, it's not a bad thing. It's not something I hate or anything like that. But it's also not my favorite. There has to be something to it that draws me in. Otherwise, I'm not so interested in it. And that kind of bugs me because of games like Skyrim, for example. Skyrim, from what little of it I've been able to experience so far, is a fun game. Um, there's really nothing against it that I have. The only thing is, it's a fantasy game, and so the setting doesn't draw me in so much. And that's one of the reasons why, I'm only 20 something, I think, episodes in, and I haven't played it in a while, is because it's not that I don't want to keep going or that I have anything against the game or that I have officially stopped it or anything. I'll eventually get going on it again, but it's just that the setting doesn't hold me for very long. I get into it. I have fun while I'm playing it, but then being drawn back into it just doesn't happen very often. Anyways, I'll get the ladders, the last few ladders we need over there, and then that'll be it for this video. I'm sure this video's gone on long enough, and I've rambled on long enough about random stuff. I need some wood. Please be some wood in here. Got some oak wood there. I'll save the jungle wood. Okay, well this should be enough for the ladders we need now. We're going to need more for the top of the pillars, so I'm going to make some more. And it's nighttime again. Of course it is. Yep, it's a shame that I don't get to play Pathfinder anymore because I don't think I will. Honestly, I don't know if I'll ever get to play it again unless they make a computer game from it, video game. I know they have a few Dungeons and Dragons games out there. I haven't I haven't played them. The closest thing I played, like I said, is Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic because that uses a similar system. But I know there's some Dungeons and Dragons games out there. Just haven't played them. I think Neverwinter Nights is a similar system. Not exactly, but I guess really any Western roleplay computer game has similar systems, strength or physical attributes and feats and stuff. I don't know. There's just something about Pathfinder that I really enjoyed. Oh well, one of those things in life that you get to experience and then move on from, I guess. I don't know. I think the only way I'd be able to experience Pathfinder again would be in some online sort of deal. I don't know if it'd be over Skype or if they have like specific game areas to do that, game programs or whatever to help with that, but I seriously doubt I'll ever get to have it in person again, that kind of experience. Which is sad, but whatever. Anyways, we got done with the base part of the pillars, and next step will be finishing them up with the stairs and everything else. I don't know why I ended up doing it this way first, I guess because it was just easier as I was talking to do that kind of on autopilot. And doing the stairs and everything else in those first few pillars was getting in the way. So we'll continue and make those in the next video. And then all we'll have left to do is the walkway. That won't take very long. That'll be the simplest of all the jobs because it'll just be completing every section, and that'll be about it. No, it shouldn't take too long. The most complicated part's going to be doing the top of these pillars here in the next video, which is why I'm saving it for the next video because I don't want to do it right now. Anyways, thanks for watching, boys and girls. Thanks for listening to me. If you did listen to me, I don't know. This has been more Bountiful Minecraft. I'm the Good Old Gamer. Bye-bye for now.